Hi, my name is Simone Williams, and welcome to episode 3 of Art Like Everything Else, the podcast. Alrighty, and getting right into it. So, the quote I wanted to use to open up today's episode is a Tumblr post from an account that goes by Having Revelations. So, this Tumblr user said, "Mental illness made me so desperate for joy that I forgot it was this simple. Feeling the ocean against your skin, a really good guitar riff, sun on your back, holding the door for a stranger, a cold shower on a hot day. The world is like a cradle, and I am just a little baby, eyes wide open. There is so much to see." What a beautiful post that goes really well into what it is I wanted to talk about today, which is about creating meaning. So, kind of like in the post that having revelations talked about how struggles with mental health can often make it really hard to find things that might be good or enjoyable despite what you're going through. Finding those little things to create meaning to make something of whatever it is that you're going through is really important. And so, in the post, Having Revelations described like a really good guitar riff, feeling the sun on your back, just holding the door open for a stranger. These are all just some little things that when they were desperate for joy, it really helped them. And joy can be in those little things. Joy doesn't have to be this super big, elaborate type of thing to count for something. It can be as simple as waking up and having a warm cup of tea in the morning. Even simpler, it can be just waking up and feeling the weight of your comforter as you lay down preparing to start your day. In today's society, living has become very, very busy. It's like if you're not doing one thing, you're expected to be doing another. If you're not doing that thing, then you're expected to be doing something entirely different. Like you are always expected to be doing something, always achieving something, always be producing something, just always on go, go, go. But in doing all of that, I believe it can often become difficult to actually enjoy much of anything about life, let alone any of the big joys, and definitely not the smaller ones. Sometimes you can get so caught up in the doing, get so caught up in the producing, get so caught up in the providing, you aren't actually being able to just be, to just exist as you are. And that's why I feel that oftentimes mental illness or struggles with mental illness, especially things like depression, can kind of creep in. Like feeling like you're not meeting specific expectations or doing enough or being enough is easy to get swallowed up. And then add on that you're constantly just doing and doing and doing, you often forget to just be, to embrace what things in your life that brings you joy now, because you don't have the time. And you may be used to the expectation of joy showing up as this somewhat elaborate event. But like I said earlier, joys don't have to be elaborate. Joy is allowed to be little. In fact, I encourage you to find little things to be joyful about. I think it is so important to create this joy for yourself, to try to find as many little joys as possible just for yourself and in the world around you. I feel like finding these little joys and in searching for a little joy in even just your everyday life, you will become a lot more present and a lot more cognizant of everything that's around you. So like maybe you wake up one morning and you didn't realize like just how comfortable being in bed is with your favorite comforter, your favorite pillows, and maybe even a few stuffed animals. Like being present to enjoy that level of comfort when you first wake up could be a great start. Another example could be getting to enjoy whatever your go to morning drink is. So, getting to sit and enjoy your coffee or your tea, or maybe even a smoothie, could also just be a little bit of joy to have in your day. So often we are speeding through life on autopilot, and I think that can often get in the way of the discovering the small things we didn't realize were bringing us joy. Creating meaning might seem really difficult, and on some level, for some people, I'm sure it is. I won't pretend that it's not difficult, that there won't be days where it may feel impossible to find or to even think of something positive about the day you're having. And that's kind of why I think it's important that you know that the joy or meaning you find in a day doesn't have to be big or extravagant. Honestly, I'd say the smaller the joy, the better, because sometimes you really do just need the littlest piece of joy. There will likely be times when you're so desperate for joy that even the tiniest piece is enough for you to get a hold of and then crave more. So for example, for me, on some of my toughest days, one of the little joys that I have is related to when I have to take my dog out for her to do her business. So when I go to take my dog out, because she knows my routine, so as she sees me preparing to get ready to take her outside, she goes to get ready herself. And so how she gets ready, she likes to run to the door. And so she'll always go to the wall that's farthest away from my side door, which is like the door I take her out of. And when I call her, she dashes forward towards me, and she always sits right by my foot so that I can put her leash on before we step outside. And so sometimes she's even like sliding to a bit of a stop because she ran so fast. And it's so cute. And it's something that always puts a smile on my face. And because that's something I have to do every day, it's something that brings me a little joy even on days when I'm not feeling the best. So yeah, sometimes it could be that simple. And sometimes creating meaning and finding meaning could be done through established connections with other people. So I know in the last episode I was talking about like the philosophy of Ubuntu, which is the I am because we are. I think even being able to create meaning through connections that you might currently have could be very helpful. So maybe getting a text from a friend or sending a text to a friend could be something that brings you a bit of joy. Letting a friend know that you're thinking about them or wishing them to have a really good day, hoping they have a good day, that could be something that brings you a bit of joy. So it doesn't only have to be something that is only for you. If you would like to create joy that could be in connection with others or with more people, I believe that is absolutely an option. But yeah, I really think creating meaning is something that we don't often feel like we have time to do, but I feel like it's important that we do, especially as we kind of continue to be or exist. And so as we strive to or work towards this being or existing in a society that wants us to just do, I think we can start with creating meaning. So the art that I would like to close out today's episode is actually inspired by work from creator and artist Winston Roundtree. So I'm not going to actually read or recite a piece from this artist. I'm going to read something I wrote regarding my own time in high school that reminded me of something this creator did. So I don't know if you watch the YouTube channel Cracked. There used to be this series on there called People Watching, and it's a series created by Winston Roundtree. There's an episode called The Importance of Reaching Out to Old Teachers, and I'll be sure to link to the actual YouTube video in the description, so feel free to check it out. I think it's absolutely it's a really lovely series, and I would encourage you to watch it if you're interested. But yeah. And so pretty much the premise of this episode is the person in the video is kind of struggling with coming up with an email to reach out to a teacher that he had back in high school. Even though the narrator did not have the best time in high school, he actually didn't really like high school at all. But this teacher specifically had quite an impact on him, and it helped him to find some meaning in his high school experience. And I thought that was really relatable because also, like personally, I didn't really enjoy my high school experience. Like I had fun times, but overall, high school is absolutely not something I want to do again. And I feel like a lot of people might even have that same experience. And so honestly, I wanted to read something I wrote while I was getting ready to graduate high school, and I needed to think of something meaningful for a speech I had to give at graduation. So I'm going to read a short excerpt from what I wrote, and it starts with, so it says, "Good afternoon, family, friends, and high school graduating class. So I actually considered doing this speech and giving the whole life starts now spiel, but to be honest, I don't think that's true. The real world does not start when you leave high school, when you can legally drink, or when you get a job. You have been in the real world your whole life, and just as in life, we learn valuable lessons. This school has taught me valuable lessons. For example, in junior ROTC, I learned to always carry paper and pencil, And in Mr. Davis's class, I learned you can never be too prepared. And Miss Turan has taught me that if you put enough time, enough effort, and enough heart into something, things will always turn out fine. But above all, being at the school has taught me not to judge a book by its cover. We are a class of scholars, artists, athletes, musicians, go-getters, and dream chasers. We are people who will not be defined by limits. We refuse to have where we come from define where we go and how much we achieve. Now that was just a little bit of my speech, and I'm going to stop right there. But yeah, like, even in the experience that I had in high school, I was able to create meaning where could keep me going and get me to the end. So now I would love to hear from you all of like, what is something that brings you joy? And it doesn't have to be elaborate. It is allowed to be little. But what's something that brings you joy? Drop that in the comments. And yeah, that's all I have for you today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being. I hope you have a great rest of your day.